Well, what is up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horne, and this is the NWA. It's the show celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition of the greatest wrestling entity of all time. Of course, we're talking about the National Wrestling Alliance, and I am here with my best of friends. This is Wil Martin and the Doctor, Rob Stinson.
He's back.
Best of friends, man. I called you 3 times this week, and you didn't answer a single call. I even tried to call you last night, and he was in the middle watching Paranormal Activity.
Bro, it's not like we didn't just meet
the movie, or
you
saved
like
he was watching.
No, literal Paranormal Activity in my living room
in your house. Whoa,
yeah, it's weird. Cool. It's crazy. Anyway, what's up, guys? It's good to see you.
Hey.
And we're coming off a big episode of PowerrrSurge. For those of you who don't know, we are from a show called This Is Pro Wrestling at TIPW Show on all the social medias. You can go to youtube.com/This Is Pro Wrestling. I think that's how we put it. Yeah. And yeah, thanks. And you can find us there. We'd love it if you subscribe. We're grateful to have you here with us, and the NWA appreciates all of its fans, and that's why they have this post show here. We've got special guests on tonight. We've got Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch jumping in later on this evening ahead of their big match against Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis at By Any Means Necessary, Sunday, October 24th, Valor Hall at Oak Grove, Kentucky. That's going to be a huge event. We're going to talk about that whole event here tonight. And, of course, PowerrrSurge that you just watched, hopefully. Want to give a big shout-out, though, to our friends Frank Andrews, Front Row, Russell Blade, Cody H., R.A. Davis, John Gott. Fee is here, John Gott. I already said your name, but you get it twice. Front Row's here. Todd Tomerlin, Nani. So many people. Roy DeCaps is here, of course. Love that guy. Willie Bowen is here. Javier is here. Kyle is here. All of you beautiful, beautiful people. It's so good to see you. I just want to give you a shout out up front. And of course, if you've got questions for the champ and the former champ, a little bit later, we'll be happy to look and keep an eye on the chat for those as well. Fellas, I guess let's since we're starting a little bit later here, let's just jump right into this show. The first matchup, we got to see Tennessee's own Jeremiah Plunkett take on the Heartthrob Jaden, newer guy here in the NWA this time around. Jeremiah Plunkett slowly becoming more and more popular in the National Wrestling Alliance. People loving his technical prowess and his smash mouth style. Plunky's good, man, and it's always good seeing him. And Jaden, I got to give him credit. I mean, he was twirling his hair and acting a little goofy at first, but the guy could wrestle. Just unfortunately, in this case, not good enough for Jeremiah Plunkett. Plunky takes a big W here and solidifies his position, keeps himself relevant in the National Wrestling Alliance. Any thoughts there?
I love the spotlight matches. This is one of my favorite parts of PowerrrSurge. We get to see some talent sometimes that we might not be as familiar with, like in this case, Heartthrob Jaden, and then some more established talent. And if you have followed us on TIPW show for any length of time, you'll know that I've been talking about Jeremiah Plunkett for a long, long time, well over a year. And I've said that he's one of the brightest talents, along with guys like Alex Taylor, to come out of the Middle Tennessee area. He's the pride of Tater Pillar, and we got to see a great exhibition of that talent tonight that I've been discussing the whole time.
All right. Well, then next up on the show, we got an update on Nick Aldis, who, again, we'll see here a little bit later. But former champion Nick Aldis, obviously a victim of that vicious attack from Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis, the 3 pile drivers, one onto a chair. We found out from this narration from Kyle Davis that there was numbness in his legs, mild concussion, and whiplash is what he suffered. But unfortunately, it looks, well, fortunately for Nick, he is doing a lot better now, it seems. And unfortunately for Thom Latimer, he did not get done what I think he intended to do, which is a heinous act indeed. But anyway, that's the update according to Mickey James per Kyle. And this match took place in Poland. It was their first wrestling, nationally televised wrestling event. And that's a big deal. So it's cool to see Nick there representing the National Wrestling Alliance and participating in that. He looked looked good in the ring from what I could see. And looks like he could have come away with the W had the Kingsland Cloverleaf locked in. And unfortunately for him, Chris Adonis, God, I keep doing that. Chris Adonis was also on the same show and actually distracted the referee, caused a briefcase to come into play. And Nick ended up taking the briefcase away, using it, but the ref caught him, and Nick suffers a disqualification in this matchup. Will, what'd you think about this one?
I thought it was great. I love that this was featured on tonight's episode of PowerrrSurge. Just a great reminder of the reach of the NWA. We say it all the time. The NWA is a meta promotion. It's different than any other promotion out there. And you see guys like Nick Aldis, like Chris Adonis appearing not just all over the country, but all over the world. And so it was really cool to see this. I like that they aired it with the Polish broadcasting, just to give it that, the feel of that first nationally televised wrestling event in Poland. That's a big deal, guys. I mean, that's imagine the first Doc, you probably know what it was, the first nationally televised wrestling event here in the States. It's a turning point. It's a staple. So that's huge for Poland. And as they were putting that together, they thought it would be proper to have guys like Nick Aldis and Chris Adonis there. As far as what transpired, it's an unfortunate circumstance for Nick that Chris Adonis was on this same show, and obviously they've got unfinished business, and Chris wasn't able to compartmentalize that, and it came out. It bubbled over, so it definitely affected the finish. But I think we're heading to a resolution. We'll talk about it later in the show. These guys will be squaring off in the ring this weekend in a tag match, so hopefully we'll see a continuation of that.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful show, first of all. I mean, it was I was able to catch this on YouTube. I think the full matches are available there. We got to see some highlights tonight. I think it was appropriate that the first NWA talent to be featured in the first nationally televised Polish wrestling show ever was a member of Strictly Business, Chris Adonis. Doggone it, Gary. You're infecting me. I also wanted to say that how much I would love to have seen the world's heavyweight championship defended on this show, in this venue. We've seen Nick Aldis, the greatest world champion of the modern era, defend it in China, defend it around the globe. I would love to, have had this added to him, or maybe Trevor Murdoch could have been there. I don't know why he wasn't on there. But let's call a spade a spade. Nick is on a losing streak right now. He lost that championship, and then he lost to a brilliant competitor, Gracjan Korpo, there in Poland. And, due to some questionable tactics by Nick Aldis using that briefcase. Remember, this young man, Gracjan Korpo, has a family, and I'm, a little disappointed to see him resort to those kinds of tactics, but it is what it is. It was a great show. Great to see the NWA represented. And you're right, Will, the NWA not only is a meta promotion, but it is a truly international promotion. So we see it represented there again in Eastern Europe, there in Poland.
That's a great point, Doc. And good to see the NWA spreading out there. And Craig Stamper, I see you in the chat. You're going to be there this weekend. Make sure you come say hello. All three of us will be there by any means necessary. I can't say it enough times. October 24th, this Sunday, coming up in Oak Grove, Kentucky. I hope a lot of you are going to be there. I can't wait to hang out with you and meet some new people and all of that. It's going to be a big time show. And we did find out tonight a little bit more from William Patrick Corgan on how you're going to be able to watch that if you can't be there live. But if you are going to be there live, you should definitely be telling your friends and family, show up, buy some tickets. I think there's a few left. So get in there and let's sell this thing out and show the NWA that it's worth it coming over to Middle Tennessee, Kentucky area. And what Doc, as always, and I don't know if Doc watched the interview last week, but I did mention the Crimson and Doc's opinion, the hotbed of professional wrestling right now in the United States. So at least I should get some props for that, I guess.
No, yeah. Hey, credit where credit's due. I did see bits and pieces of it. I could barely stand to watch it with Kyle Davis and Gerrymander Joe on there. The two of them. It took the two of them to do what I normally do with half the effort. So
that makes sense. It takes a lot of skill to be Doc Stinson. That's for sure. Did we also Kyle was asking what your doctorate was in too. I don't know if you heard that, but he was questioning that.
I was questioning my doctorate.
Well, he was just saying nobody knows what he's actually a doctor of.
Do you want to know? Yeah, I'm a doctor of learning and leadership. That's what my doctorate's in from the University of Tennessee, although I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Fee, thanks for staying up with us. Fee's all the way over in Scotland for those that don't know. So it's good to see her being able to hang out with us tonight. She's off work tomorrow. So it's like 3 a.m. there or something. I don't know. I don't know what time it is in Scotland. I don't think they have watches. Anyway. Sundials and kilts. That's all they make in Scotland, right? So all right. So did also want to say what's up to Mongrovian Mike and Neil. Also love those guys from the Nation Show over at Busted Open Nation. If you guys know Dave LaGreca and Bully Ray and all those folks, these are a spinoff fan site from that group. And just anyway, just happy I'm just excited. I'm just happy. I'm feeling the love tonight. I'll tell you something else. If you're tired of feeling the love, you guys are real purple, by the way. I don't know.
I was trying.
More of a periwinkle than a
Doc
purple.
started it. I was trying to match his energy. I mean, I can go green. I'll go green.
I was just saying. I was just noticing. I was like, did I miss like a memo before we came on here? Why is everybody in purple?
I'm going back.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to mention tonight was, let's stop talking about the love for a second here. Thom Latimer took on Tim Storm in this event tonight. And so you've heard the announcement, obviously, about what's going to happen at By Any Means Necessary. But one of the victims of that vicious attack by Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis was Tim Storm. And tonight he got a chance to have his revenge, I guess, against Thom Latimer. He challenged to a one-on-one match. Thom is amazing, like listening to him speak, because I don't know what he's talking about some of the time, because I had to look up what a little dicky bird was. But if you saw that post on social media, Thom Latimer just accepted the challenge, and also had quite a bit there that had to be bleeped out because just inappropriate for social media. But anyway, that's Thom Latimer, I guess. And what'd you guys think about this match? Thom Latimer coming out on top here after delivering the pile driver to Tim Storm. Seems to be a signature for him here lately.
Yeah, it was great to see this match. And Tim Storm is definitely in the center of this whole ordeal, being part of that turn of Strictly Business and them, implementing that brutal attack on Nick Aldis. But, Tim Storm has – just let me finish, Doc. Tim Storm, he's still got it, man. I mean, if you watch that match, he's still got it. He didn't come out on top in this match, but this is a guy, don't let him fool you just because he's normally on commentary. He can still go. And I think he's got some unfinished business with Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis. So there's a lot of things at play in this whole situation, and I think we're going to see a lot of it play out this weekend in Kentucky, so I'm excited about that.
I didn't really care for the phrase "the turn of Strictly Business" because it's not Strictly Business that turned here. Strictly Business didn't change the business plan. They didn't change the model. They're still following the path that Nick Aldis set before them that led to worlds and worlds of success. So don't say the turn of Strictly Business. But you're right. Tim Storm has still got it. He never lost it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in the NWA. This is a man who on any given day could go out there and win that World's Heavyweight Championship again. But let's just call a spade a spade. Thom Latimer is coming into his own. This is a man who very soon will be in that World's Heavyweight Championship title picture. Mark my words on that.
All right. Well, well said, Doc. And Tom's definitely, it seems like, trying to exit the shadow of Nick Aldis is what it seems like his ultimate goal here is. Just to finish the rest of PowerrrSurge, if you missed it, there was a spotlight on the Kamille versus Leyla Hirsch matchup that took place at NWA EmPowerrr, and just what an incredible match, and shows you exactly why Kamille is our world's women's champion right now. She is on fire, and just proved it at EmPowerrr and the next night at NWA 73. So if you haven't seen that match yet, you can go back and watch it here on Fight TV. All of that out of the way, we've got to take a second here to welcome two very special guests to the show as promised. This weekend, Sunday, October 24th, Oak Grove, Kentucky, Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch are going to team up to take on what I assume is still strictly business, Chris Adonis and Thom Latimer. And this is going to be a huge match. Nick, Trevor, thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, boys. Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you guys. Champ was almost going to be on here one day and hurt his leg that night on Powerrr, and he had to get that looked at, I think. And then, Nick, this is the first time I think a lot of these people are hearing from you since the vicious attack at the hands of Adonis and specifically Thom Latimer. 3 pile drivers, got a nasty looking one on a chair. Now, we heard a little bit of an update, but I guess the obvious first question right out of the gate is how are you feeling right now?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I felt better. It's not every day that you get a concussion and whiplash and a stinger, which was a scary moment. And fortunately, coming off of a long run as world champion meant my conditioning was pretty good. And thankfully, thanks to the conditioning, I was able to suffer nothing worse than that. But I'm not going to lie. I went home and it was a rough couple of weeks, but started to feel better and, took care of myself, got myself back in the game, and ended up fulfilling my obligation to go and main event in Poland because, that's what a champion does.
Well, that certainly is, and we're happy to see the NWA branch out like that. There's so many places I want to go with what you just said just then, but I won't do that. I won't stir the pot. I will just stick to this.
That'll be a first.
Oh, he's still got that wit about him. One more question for you, Nick, just real quick, and I'll let these guys jump in too. Did this action by Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis, I want to ask you if you expected this, but I guess clearly you didn't expect it, but does it surprise you that they're sticking to this? Doc mentioned right before you guys came in, this is a game plan that you would have set forth. Like, this is the style you would have promoted.
Yeah, it's interesting. I heard Doc's attempt at rationalizing that, and here's the question I have, Doc. If you acknowledge that they're following the game plan, but then you're also acknowledging that I'm the one who sets the game plan, then clearly that's a contradictory statement, is it not? Because I decided to move the game plan in another direction. I decided that after Trevor and I took each other to the limit, all for the honor of being called NWA World Champion, I decided that nobody is bigger than the title, which is true. And Thom and Chris didn't want to accept that reality, which probably goes a long way to explaining why neither one of them have ever held the World Championship. Because you have to be willing to win it, but you also have to be willing to lose it with dignity. And for them to behave the way they did took no dignity and it took no balls. And this Sunday, it might be time for my former opponent and now esteemed teammate to show them the way of honor and show them how to lose with dignity.
I'm just curious, what goes on in the decision-making process there on the strategy. Did you sit down with
No, did you just
Chris
put a lot of
Adonis?
words together? I mean, I hear words coming out of your mouth, but they don't actually form a complete sentence yet, Doc. If you want to admit that you were wrong, just say so.
Oh, I won't admit I'm wrong, champ. With all due respect, I'm not up here to disrespect you. You are the greatest world champion of the modern era, and we're sitting here with Trevor Murdoch, who won a classic match in St. Louis.
I just explained it to you, Doc. I just explained it to you. I said
I want to know if you
have to be willing.
What voice did Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis have in the strategic making process? Did you set that? Did you decide that? Was it a unilateral decision, or did they get a voice?
Excuse me. What do you think this is? Some sort of political party? Some sort of leadership thing? We were just a team. We were a stable. The idea was that we supported each other. And Thom and Chris, let's be real, they achieved a lot of success after hitching their wagon to me. And so did Kamille. Right. We're the most decorated stable in the NWA because they were led by me. But unfortunately, those guys couldn't look beyond their own greed. And I think it occurred to them deep down that maybe they don't actually lack the character that it takes to be world champion. Maybe all of this.
Two of the three of them still have championships, and one of them has a world championship.
Let me finish. You cut me off again, and that's the last time you'll ever speak to me. Go ahead. Keep laughing. Because I'll see you on Sunday. No, I'm telling you the way it is, Doc. Thom has every tool that any wrestler could hope for to be successful in this sport. The one thing he doesn't have is the depth of character needed to be world champion. The depth of character needed to lead instead of follow. He wanted to take a shortcut, and he thinks that by attacking me, he's become so desperate that he would turn on the one friend that he still had left in this business. And he made a grave mistake. And I wish I could sit here and say that I'm just disappointed on a business level, but I'm not. I'm heartbroken on a human level. That's why this is different to me. But the truth is that I did everything I could to help him. And that might include Trevor and I giving him and Chris an ass kicking on Sunday. Now you can speak.
I just think that every time you speak about how the tactics they're employing now are so, just demonstrating lack of character. I mean, they learned them from you. You're discrediting your entire reign.
What are the tactics they are displaying, Doc?
I'm not going to discredit them.
He's trying to take a shortcut and make a name for himself at my expense. It's not the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last. But it's
only one person gets to take a shortcut.
Okay.
Only one person gets to take a shortcut, huh?
Let me jump in here because
you're taking a shortcut to an ass whipping on Sunday. You carry on speaking to me.
Ooh, I'm loving this.
Man,
I'm loving this.
Yeah, the chat's loving this too. I'm a little tense, just to be honest. But this is a form of whiplash, different than what you experienced, Mr. Aldis. But just seeing this change of pace here is different.
I love fired up.
I feel like this is a whole different dynamic than I'm used to.
Look, Doc's idiosyncrasies aside, I can tell you that in spite of the fact that come Sunday, it's going to be on. We all know that. There's nothing I can tell you that you don't already know. But I will say that I'm really looking forward to tagging up with Trevor. I'm really looking forward to being on the same side for once instead of being on the receiving end of that country boy ass kicking.
Well, and what everybody
watching him.
Nick, what everybody tends to forget is I still have some heat with Chris Adonis, man. You and I obviously went our own way, but I still have a bone to pick with Chris Adonis, and I appreciate you calling me and asking me to tag with you by any means necessary this Sunday. Gives me my opportunity to handle some country ass whippings. This is obviously personal for both of us. I think this is a little bit more deeper between you and Thom. I've never had to fight my best friend, so I don't know what that kind of feels like. But I do know what it feels like to get revenge, and that's what we're bringing this Sunday.
That's I'm glad you're dropping in there, Trevor, because I was just curious, like how you felt figuring into this whole dynamic here, because it's a bitter rivalry, but you bring up an excellent point. You do have that history with Chris Adonis, so that makes perfect sense. I mean, are you? I guess you guys are familiar with each other. Does that play well as a tag team, though? Like, you're familiar with battling each other. Do you think this gives you a competitive advantage in the ring as well?
Well, I think we both got a common goal. And Nick and I both come from the same background as well, too. And the fact of the matter is, I think if anybody knows Nick better than, and there's nobody right now that knows Nick better than me, and it might be possible Thom. Thom obviously is Nick's best friend, but I've had to study both those gentlemen, Thom and Chris. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen. When you mix talent and anger, the fans tend to be the winners of that.
When you're an opponent, you got sorry, Will, I mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
You know, just to add to what Trevor said, you know, when you're an opponent to somebody so many times, and in Trevor and I's case, we've each defeated the other, it means that we've had to figure out a way. We've had to find the key to unlock the key to victory with that particular individual. What that gives you is that then when you're teaming, you understand the strengths and weaknesses, so you can then try to make up for those differences. And that's why, in spite of the fact that Trevor and I have never tagged, I have a feeling that we're going to be pretty effective as a unit, because we know each other's strengths, we know each other's weaknesses, and we know how to counteract it. And more importantly, we both know how to win.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'm excited about this match personally, because if you guys follow the show at all, you know how much I love tag team wrestling. And, you know, the thing that we haven't really spotlighted is that both of you guys have a pretty accomplished tag team background. I think between the two of you, there's 10 tag team title reigns across various promotions. So this is not a foreign land for you guys. Yeah, so you guys have a lot of experience, right, but this will be the first time tagging with each other. So what's that dynamic like when you know how to do good tag team wrestling, you know how to work with a partner, but you guys in particular, and you just touched on it a little bit, knowing each other so well, but what things from your past experience do you bring into a match like this?
Nick, I'll let you take this.
Sure, thanks, Trev. It's well, first of all, you first thing you got to do is you got to understand what strengths you have, and like what are the most effective weapons that you bring into the battle, right? With Trevor, you know, he wants to stand right in front of you and trade, right? He's not looking for body parts. He's not looking to try to throw you off with fakes. He's not going to do anything like that. He's going to stand right in front of you and fight. I can be a little more cerebral, a little more strategic. So it's just a case of taking the certain things that I do well, the certain things that Trevor does well, having the self-awareness to understand where your opponent may be better suited, where your partner, may be better suited in the moment, and then just figuring out how to mesh those to maximum effectiveness. When I teamed with Samoa Joe, right away I said, all right, I know what Joe does because I've studied him, because he's been an opponent. I know his most effective maneuvers. How can I enhance those or add to those? And I'm already thinking the same thing with Trevor, because I've been on the receiving end of his offense, so I know what it feels like.
I couldn't answer that any better.
One of the things that I've got to bring up here that I almost regret, but I've seen it hundreds of times all over social media, and just even now in our chat, is obviously people, the fans of the NWA, the hashtag NWA fam, they are fans of history, and they've seen
going with this, Gary.
they've seen this sort of thing happen in professional wrestling before, that a man in a position such as yours, Nick, is the head of a faction such as Strictly Business, and then they lure in an unsuspecting man like Trevor Murdoch, and it just
are we talking about Sting? Or I mean, I know
we sure are, Trevor.
Yeah. All right, Nick, if you don't mind, I'd like to take this one, boss.
Go ahead, champ.
All right, here's the deal with that one, guys. The issues between Nick and I were always purely business, and that business surrounded the NWA World Heavyweight Title. Right now, I feel that Nick and I are on the same page, and we have the same ideas and the same thought pattern on what we want to accomplish this Sunday. Will Nick and I come back together for the world title? I sure as hell expect it. He wants to be world champion just like anybody else. So yeah, I plan on facing Nick at a different time, but not this Sunday. This is about business. We both obviously have issues with Chris Adonis and Thom Latimer, and I think Oak Grove, Kentucky is going to be the perfect place for us to settle that.
It's almost an awful question to ask because, I mean, Nick, clearly you got dropped on your head like 3 times. There was no, there's nothing shady about that except the way that you got into that position.
Right. You just answered my question for me. You know, I've seen the speculation as well. You know, it's hard to miss. Like, it's a swerve. You know, first of all, swerves are so 30 years ago, bro. And secondly,
did you just say swerves are so 30 years? I love it. I love it. You popped me. I'm sorry. So 30 years ago.
I wouldn't wish what happened to me on my worst enemy. Like to suffer pile driver is bad enough. It's part of the reason why I lost the world title. But to suffer 3 and one of them was on a chair, let me tell you, nothing is worth the risk that is. I have a 7-year-old son. I would never deliberately put myself in harm's way like that. If anyone thinks that I would for the sake of what? Swerving Trevor, he just told you himself. Like, that there's a time and a place for another match with Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch. Why would I need to go through all that to make it happen?
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate your time here. You've been generous with it. We're looking forward to Oak Grove, Kentucky, October 24th. That's this Sunday, by any means necessary. I mean, is there anything else you guys want to add going into this match before we let you go? We want to be respectful of your time here, but just know we've had Adonis on the show. We've heard from Thom. Anything you want to get out directly to those fellas, especially?
Me personally, they better get prepared and ready. You know, you've got 2 pissed off individuals that know how to kick ass very well. And we're coming this Sunday to handle some business.
Actions have consequences. And Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch are all out of bubblegum.
It's weird to hear us on the same side. I'm not gonna lie, Nick.
It is a bit weird.
A little bit strange.
But also exciting.
Yes, sir.
And we've talked about it a few times on this show. Since NWA 73, the whole landscape of the National Wrestling Alliance has just shifted. And it's just it's an odd feeling. It's exciting. There's a lot to be excited about, but it's definitely interesting. I never thought this moment would happen and that somebody would finally shut up Doc. So I am
Damn, he ain't said nothing.
All right. Good. You know, all you need to do with the dog is train him.
Oh,
that's cute. That's adorable.
Yeah, so it does.
It always sound those quips always sound better in an English accent. They sound so astute.
Gentlemen, guys, we appreciate you so much for taking time with the fans here and in the chat. And I think we covered most of the questions we wanted to get to. The chat was asking the same stuff. I think we're all on the same page. And now we're just looking forward to this throwdown in Oak Grove this weekend. And if you haven't caught, or if you're not able to be there live, I mean, you can get tickets still, but you can also catch it. I think Mr. Corgan announced it be on NWA PowerrrR over 2 episodes coming up next month. So this is going to be an exciting time, and you guys are going to bring it, I'm sure, Thom and I don't envy Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis at this point.
It's been a while since I've had a good old-fashioned tag match, and I can't wait.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
There we go. Well, thank you guys for your time. We appreciate you very much. Thank you, Champ. And Champ, is this used to calling you that?
Right. No, there's only one Champ, and right now he's in Eldon, Missouri.
There you go.
All right. Thank you guys for having me.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right. Well, there they are. Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch. Wow. Just
strange, man. It's strange to see him. You know, it's cool though, because I mean the build up to NWA 73, the matches that they had, you know, and Doc says this all the time, so I'll give you credit. I mean, you know, sometimes your strongest relationships are forged out of conflict, you know, and so these guys are, you know, all the talk about a swerve and this kind of stuff. I think that's reaching, that's conspiracy theory type stuff. I think Nick went to battle and he forged respect for the champ, Trevor Murdoch, and I think now they're on the same page. And you know, at some point once Nick takes care of some of this business right in front of him, I'm sure he'll loop back around to Trevor and they'll have another match. But yeah, as Trevor said, you know, they've got some business to take care of first. So
Royded Caps jumping in here to let you know, Doc, just before you get completely disgusted, the Braves are up 5-2. You know,
oh, I know. I'm watching. That's where I wanted to be tonight. I'm following a team that's still in world title contention. By the way.
Oh gosh.
I had to sit
well,
up
hey,
here
listen.
and watch.
Listen, well, we could talk about that though, because one of the things that President Corgan mentioned tonight is something that you always talk about, and it's the fact that, you know, we've got this tag match coming up. But he mentioned on PowerrrSurge that Chris Adonis, the national champion currently, he can, you know, challenge for a world title shot whenever he wants. He's technically the #1 contender. So, you know, you've got some people that are championship contenders, and you said it tonight. You know, they have gold in Strictly Business still. So, you know, don't be so hard on yourself.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine with myself. I haven't changed. It's Nick Aldis who woke up one day and decided,
but there's people in the chat saying they've never seen you so quiet before.
Well, it's hard to get a word in when you've got Nick Aldis and Gary Horne in the same chat.
You've been able to do it before.
No. We've seen the end of an era, guys. It was fun while it lasted. We saw the greatest world championship reign of the modern era. We'll never see anything like it again. But unfortunately, he woke up one day and decided that everything that brought him all that success is no longer valid, that we're going to shift the goalposts and we're going to move to a different strategy. And now he's without a championship, and he comes on our podcast and he's going to beat me up on Sunday. That's great. You're going to beat me up. Okay.
I mean, I guess there's a level of respect you speak to somebody with. I mean, you would call me out on the same thing against Nick Aldis previously. That, you know,
Nick Aldis was the reigning world champion.
Oh, so now that the belt's gone, the respect is not there.
Evidently, now that the belt's gone, the whole world's turned upside down. Not by me.
Well, I can't argue with that. Doc, we talked to them about the match. What are your thoughts? I mean, you're kind of here representing Strictly Business. We've heard from the opponents of Strictly Business for this Sunday. Where do you see this match turning out? How do you think Chris Adonis and Thom Latimer are feeling? We know they kind of started all this. So how do you see it panning out?
They didn't start all this. Okay. Again, they haven't changed the business plan. Let's not make those kinds of things. I would say, you know, you're going to have 4 of the greatest athletes in the world. I don't appreciate the disparaging comments towards Thom Latimer. He doesn't have the strength of character to do this, and that. Well, you are the company that you keep with. You've been his best friend for half of your life. He was your best man at your wedding. So what does that say about you? Secondly, all things being equal, if there wasn't so much emotion involved in this, I would say any team with Nick Aldis on it's going to have an advantage. But he's not the same Nick Aldis. He suffers from the same ailment that Trevor Murdoch suffers from right now, and emotion has gotten to him. You've got 2 men that are emotionally invested, and now the intellect's not controlling things. emotion is driving them. And I don't see that with Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis right now. So I've got to say, in this case, I don't have any doubt about it. When we walk out of Oak Grove, Kentucky, you're going to see a new, reformed, improved, renovated, cleansed Strictly Business with Chris Adonis and Thom Latimer on top.
So you really feel like Thom Latimer is like filling this, the void that's going to be left by Nick Aldis. I guess the combination even of the two.
Either one of them, Gary, but I do think that we're on the verge of seeing Thom Latimer emerge as one of the great competitors. And I think it's only a matter of time. And don't quote me, quote Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis just said the same thing a couple of weeks ago, on an interview or on a show or something where he mentioned Thom Latimer coming into his own and all that. And I can concurrently agree. I'm not here to disrespect Nick Aldis. I'm just saying his mind's not in the right place. This is not the same Nick Aldis.
All right. Well, I guess let's take a second here since we're talking about October 24th, Oak Grove, Kentucky. By any means necessary. Let's run through the card here. We've got a lot of matches coming up, and it's going to be exciting to talk about. So, just to get into it, let's just discuss the whole of it. So this is Valor Hall. This is Crimson's home territory. This is where Tried and True Pro is a solidified brand, and so this is going to be a hot show. I think Crimson. He was on the show last week, and he talks about when he promotes a show, he plans to make it like no other show you've gone to. This is not a typical indie show. Crimson is here to, him teaming up with Billy Corgan in this situation is going to be to make memorable moments on a pro wrestling show. So this is going to be exciting. I'm already pumped. One of the things that you're going to see right offhand is Velvet Sky is going to be appearing at By Any Means Necessary. Now we assume in the commentary spot, but as they've solidly pointed out, she also has a title shot in her back pocket if she were to ever want to use it by her team winning the Champions series. So just an interesting thought there. But Velvet Sky, if you guys have anything, just jump in at any point. I'm going to move on to the next thing here, which is Allison Kay and Marty Bell, our women's tag team champions. The Hex are going to be taking on Kylie Rae and Tootie Lynn. This is going to be a big one. This is a great, the Hex are proving themselves as an awesome tag team. In fact, man, I feel like they should be on the EmPowerrr NWA show. I don't know that that's been officially announced yet, but they might be having a title defense there. And then if they can get through that, then right after that, they've got Kylie Rae and Tootie Lynn. So I don't know, guys. Tootie Lynn's a hot up-and-comer. Kylie Rae is experienced and deceptively good in the middle of the ring. You have any thoughts on this one? Any predictions?
Yeah, this is one of the matches I'm most excited about. I mean, the full card, which we're going to run through, is already stacked. But this match in particular, because it is a tag team title defense. But the Hex, they've established themselves. They're the champs. We know that they've got what it takes. But this will be the first time we're seeing Kylie and Tootie together, and I'm really intrigued by that pairing. I think they'll work well together. I think their styles work well together. I think they're both performing at a level right now, and I think they could give them a run for their money. As far as predictions, I don't know that I can bet against the Hex right now because they're new champs and they're excited about it. They're carrying those belts with pride, and they're doing everything it takes to keep them. So I don't know if we'll see a title change, but I think we're going to see a hell of a match for sure.
Yeah, I think I had my concerns about the Hex, about them being able to set their past travails aside, but they seem to have done that well. They seem to have a fire and an intensity. Now, Kylie Rae and Tootie Lynn, man, I'm very, very high on these two, especially Kylie Rae. I love Tootie Lynn. I think seeing this amazing talent emerge out of wrestling at the Chase in St. Louis is so exciting. But right now, I think that Allison Kay and Marty Bell they're just too good, too experienced, too seasoned. They're gelling too well, and I see them holding on to these tag titles for a long, long time.
It is going to be tough for an unknown team to jump in there and take these titles away. It's gonna be a very interesting situation. Just throwing it out to the chat here just to see what you guys think. Let's see here. Craig, you're asking about Mass. I'm not sure about that, but Craig also says AK pins Tootie to retain. That's like a detailed prediction.
Very specific.
Very specific. And Ryan Romano says the Hex retain. Willie Bowen says Velvet Sky's a hottie. Yeah, that's unrelated to this, but also true. And Royded Cap says Velvet Sky Bully Ray mixed tag. This anyway. Yeah, everybody loves Velvet. So I guess we're catching up. Let's see here. Fee loved Velvet, by the way. I guess we should have spent more time on Velvet. Velvet, she was on commentary, and yes, I agree, Fee. Her interactions with Austin Idol tonight were golden. So that was good stuff. And Royded Cap says the Hex. So it feels like a landslide here for the Hex. Let's talk about the next match here, which is going to be Sal Rinauro with Danny Deals in his corner. Is going to be headed up against Jedias, the Priest of Punishment, with, of course, the sinister minister, Reverend James Mitchell. Now, the deal with this match is that right now, Jedias, because of his win at NWA 73 in the Battle Royal, has a title shot against Chris Adonis, or a national title shot, I should say. And so currently that belongs to Chris Adonis. And so Jedias can cash that in at any time. Sal, we've been informed, is competing for that opportunity. If Sal wins, he gets the national title shot. If Sal loses, however, he must give up his search for the national title. That's one path to the 10 pounds of gold, one path to the national title, completely gone for 18 months. Sal Rinauro can't compete for the national title. So this is a lot on the line here in this one. Curious what you guys are feeling about Jedias versus Sal Rinauro.
It's an interesting stipulation there, putting his national title shot on the line. I kind of like it. I mean, it's a little bit outside of the box, but you look at this and you think about these two guys and what they do in the ring, and your first reaction is Jedias is gonna win this match. But what we've seen from Sal Rinauro in the past year is a different side of our pal Sal when he is on the hunt for a championship. I mean, if you remember his TV title try, where he worked his way up and became the #1 contender, was injured by Colby Carino in a vicious attack, still entered that match and fought for the title, came up short. I mean, Sal Rinauro, he's scrappy, and he's been put in positions. I mean, we talked to him when he was in the television title picture, and winning gold in NWA means everything to him. And so the situation where you might look at the guys and you might look at their size, you might look at, how they fight in the ring, and it may be a little different and you may think it's a little lopsided, but don't underestimate the heart of a guy like Sal when he's got an opportunity. I mean, the TV title was a great opportunity and he was elated to have that opportunity, but this is a national title shot. So, I think we might see a different Sal in the ring on Sunday night, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yes, he's certainly scrappy. I like that word. That's probably the best designation for him. It's hard not to like Sal. It's not, we all hope the best for him, and I'm sure at some point things are going to align. But I'm going to tell you right now, and let's not continue to demote Jedias. He is not the priest of punishment. He is the high priest of punishment. There's a whole network of priests of punishments, but he's the highest of them all. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't run the hierarchy yet.
Yeah, there's a hierarchy. You got to understand. Nah, man.
It sounds like some Hellraiser stuff.
He's gonna have to. Yeah, he's gonna have his absolute best day of his life, and Jedias is gonna have to be just a priest of punishment that day if Sal has any hope of winning this match, because right now I think Jedias is potentially one of the most dangerous forces, especially when you've got the sinister minister alongside him. I don't think that Judias is going to be relying on that at all. But at the end of the day, he comes out retaining that national championship spot that at some point he's going to have to resolve to face strictly business if he wants to enjoy.
Yeah, and you mentioned James Mitchell. You've also got Danny Deals at ringside. So two fairly heavily involved managers are going to be at ringside. And does that become a factor? That's a question too. I think the last match that Sal Rinauro had and Danny Deals was at ringside, Danny Deals got kicked out because he was getting so involved and so vocal about the match. So that could be a factor as well. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, Roy to Cap's definitely agreeing with you with the chat. He's saying Judias is going to win this one with the help of the Sinister Minister. So definitely that prediction is out there. People are feeling it. Ryan Romano feels like our pal Sal's going to win. We got another vote from Fee from Go On Sal. So Sal's got 2. RVD 1269. Judias will destroy. Craig says Judias picks up the win. And so it's tough. It's split down the middle here between these two guys. And John Gott saying, I haven't. Where did you say that, John? I just had it here. And well, Todd says, I don't know. I think poor Sal is going to get killed. But with Sal, you never know. Hope Sal can pull it off. So, a hesitant vote for Sal there from Todd.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for Sal. I'm not going so far as to guarantee a victory, but it's one of those things. I mean, we're going to be at a great venue, a great night of wrestling. If everything aligns just right, and like you said, Doc, Sal comes out and he is just at 110%. That anything's possible. Anything can happen. It only takes 3 seconds to get a national title shot for Sal.
Yeah, Front Row pointing out that Judias has made quite a statement since coming to the NWA, but he needs to see Sal hold that national title. And I think everybody's got a little bit of Sal, the palness inside of them. That they want to see Sal successful. They want to see him. In a prominent position in the NWA. But
I think if Sal wins, he should also get Judias's title, the High Priest of Punishment. He should become the High Priest of Punishment, Sal Rinauro. Your pal Sal, a High Priest of Punishment.
I just think it's too much to ask, man. I think Sal, again, like I said a minute ago, not to waste our time repeating myself, but we want him to succeed. I want him to do great, but I mean, come on now. We're talking about Judias. Let's be real here.
Yeah, you're right.
I will give Jake Howe credit. He says maybe Sal could borrow like 30% from Clearwater. So
he's got some extra apparently. I don't know where he gets.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of percents. So
it's like the 135% now. I don't know what's the count.
Yeah, I think that's what he brought to the TV title match with Tyrus.
Boy, wow.
All right. Well, we need to create like a Jordan Clearwater percentometer. Like to see, like at all times, the
temperature that goes up.
Yeah, it was like the old the terrorist, or the nationwide threat level or something. But we'll have like you don't remember that? You're acting like
just an interesting metaphor. Yeah, I was thinking of like the fundraisers.
It's probably a downer of a thought. But sorry. Anyway, all right. Well, let's talk about. Next up on our list here, Tim Storm is going to be in action at NWA and Tried and True Pro Wrestling's by any needs necessary.
Gary forgot how to talk.
Yep, forgot how to talk. Anyway, Tim Storm's going to be in action. We don't know who yet. Fee claims to, but we'll see. Next up on our list, Tim Storm's going to be coming in hot. So whoever it is probably in a bad spot. So I wish them the best because Tim Storm just took that L to Thom Latimer tonight. So that's going to be you don't want to be on the other side of a vengeful Tim Storm. I can tell you that much. All right, next up, the match you didn't know you needed until they announced it for By Any Means Necessary. The Pope is taking on Colby Carino. Talk about a prize fight. These two guys, these are two of my favorites in the National Wrestling Alliance right now. And these two guys just, they bring it every single time in the ring. It's like just amazing offense is what these guys bring most of the time. Just excellent wrestling skill, just all around great professional wrestlers. And these two are going to be going one-on-one. I didn't even think of this match. And then here we go. Crimson and William Patrick Corgan have booked it. Pope and Colby Carino. Where are you guys on this one?
I'm excited to see it, man. I mean, I love that we've now kind of unofficially billed it as the match that you didn't know you needed, but you definitely want to see. Because these are two guys that, I mean, you said it. They're dynamic in the ring. They bring great offense. They have a lot of personality and a lot of attitude between the two of them. And you could put either of these guys against anybody, and I'd be excited, but much less putting them against each other. And, you know, Colby, I think, has had his eye on Pope just because, you know, for a while last year, he was in the hunt for the television title. And that's where the whole feud with Sal Renaro came into play. Those guys were both in that race as Pope was TV champ. So, you know, Colby's watched him. Colby's had his eye on him. He's not the TV champ anymore. But, you know, I'm sure there's still some hard feelings there and some unresolved issues. So this will be a fantastic match either way.
Yeah, I mean, Colby Carino has that intensity and fire. He's got the hunger. He's got the drive. He's got the focus. He's laser focused on biting and crawling and chewing his way to the top. But standing in his way on this occasion is Pope, who, in my opinion, right now might be the single best competitor in the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm a big fan of this guy. I like him. I like his style. I like his swagger. I like his technical ability. I like his ability to communicate. And right now, man, I don't know if anybody can beat the Pope, whether it's Trevor Murdoch, whether it's Nick Aldis, and definitely not Colby Carino. So I've got Pope coming out on top this night.
Yeah, man, that is a tough call, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to bet against Pope. That is for sure. So I'm gonna side with you, Doc, on that one. Love Colby, love what he's doing. He's got a lot of aggression, but Pope has that cool, calculated demeanor that just gets it done in the middle of the ring. Throwing it to the chat there. J. Cal saying Pope is amazing and a future world's champion. Roy to Cap saying the Pope is going to pimp all over Carino. Patrick Griffiths, Colby all the way. Going to be a huge star, so we got to vote for Colby there. Todd says, man, I am torn. I love them both, but Pope is going to win a very tough and harsh match. That's for sure, Todd. I think this match, that's the thing. I think this match is going to take both men to the limit. People that don't know Colby well enough yet are going to learn on this night, I think, that Colby is a fierce competitor. Ryan Romano says to Pope for the win. John says Colby must cheat to beat Pope. Front row. Colby is as tough as they come, but money is on Pope. RVD, Pope is going to excommunicate Colby. And let's see here. James Pittman likes Pope and Trevor Murdoch, so I guess that's just a general thought. And Royded Caps, though, says Carino does have that NWA world title blood, though. So for what that matters. And Dead Lumens, Pope is the big daddy. That may be related to this match or just another random thought. It's good to see you, Dead Lumens. Dead Lumens does all of the photography, the portraits in the back for NWA. If you guys don't know, he's worth a follow on Instagram and social media. He's a great dude and does good work. All right. And let's move on to the next matchup. Here's another one. I swear to God, this is another one I never thought of, but I'm super excited to see on this card because I think this is going to be another showcase. And that is Mims is going to be taking on the mystery man, Sion. And this feels like this is going to be a brawl. I mean, what we've seen of both these guys, Mims is on his way up, and Sion has a mysterious past for sure, but he's clearly got some background in professional wrestling. The guy is very, very solid in ring it's going to be interesting to see where this one goes. Doc, you go first. What do you think about Mims and Sion going 1-on-1?
I mean, I don't like Sion. I don't like him, but there's no doubting, as you said, there's no doubting the fact that this is a man who knows what he's doing inside the ring. But then you look across the ring, and you got Mims, who has done nothing but inspire and excite and impress us and everyone he's faced so far. This is a hard call, man, but shoot, I don't even want to make a call on this. I don't know. I mean,
you don't have to. You can be politically correct like me for once. Just be.
No, I can't do that. I'm going to make a call.
Be neutral.
Right now, I think that although I don't know who he is and what experience lies behind him, when I look at Sion in the ring, I see someone who's highly seasoned, highly calculating. And I look at Mims and I see someone who's the world is his oyster. He's got everything in front of him, but he's still a little bit green. And so at the end of the day, just because of experience, I'm gonna have to say that I think Sion walks out on this one, believe it or not.
That's a fair assessment. My one big question mark about this match, besides who is Sion, obviously, is there's a bit of a war brewing between Tyrus and Austin Idol's camp and Sion. A lot of words have been exchanged. Sion's thrown out the challenge for December for that TV title. And so I just wonder if they're going to get involved. I don't put it past Austin Idol and crew to come in and make their presence felt in this match. And so that could be a factor. I would hate to see that. I'd love to see this match finish inside the ring with a pinfall or submission, but you just never know. We can't hear you, Gary.
It's because I was cursing. It was just all curse words. I just hated your opinion, and it was all curse words. So I was bleeped, censored by YouTube. Damn you, YouTube. All right, so let's jump into the chat here. Ryan Romano says, "Go Mims." Fee says, "Go on, big strong boy." Front row, big strong Mims all day. Lots of love for Mims here. Roy DeCap says, "Sion is my boy. I like Mims, but I got to give the nudge to Sion." Willie Bowen says, "Mims for the tough win." RVD says, "Sion will come out on top." And no Steve Money. It's not the same guy. And front row says, "Moment of silence for question mark." There you go. And John Gott says, "Gotta agree with Doc. Sion has the experience." So I think that leads a little Sion. And God, just pulled at my heartstrings there, front row. I don't know why you had to do that to me, but RIP question mark. We miss you, buddy. All right. And I think just the mask brings it out when you think of great masked wrestlers. That's one we'll always remember from here on. I think is the question mark. All right. And Turbo jumping in there with Mystery Man is his favorite as well. This one's going to be competitive. That's for sure. And there's no titles on the line in Pope and Carino and Mims and Sion. And yet both of those matches, I just feel like those are just, under the radar. Like they're going to come through and those could be amazing bouts.
Let me say one other thing too about the Sion Mims match. It's not like if Mims wins this, I'm going to be shocked. I'm not going to be shocked. I mean, Mims is obviously going to be a big deal. He's already a big deal, but he's going to be a huge deal coming up. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but following them, listening to them talk, listening to some of our exchanges, especially mine with the Mystery Man Sion, it seems like Sion has something that Mims may not, or at least it's not become evident to me yet. And that is that Sion has a focus. He has an end game. He has a destination. He has something that's driving him. And I haven't heard that yet from Mims. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying I haven't heard it. So there's certainly the experience factor, but Mims is definitely going to bring in the strength factor. I mean, he's obviously a bigger, stronger guy. But But Sion he seems very calculating and very deliberate and intentional about things, and he's moving towards something. And when it comes to this sport, the one true sport, that's important. That's part of my difficulty with Nick Aldis right now. I think that he's lost that direction or destination. He's caught up in something that's not focused on the title. But right now, Sion is focused on an end state, which is championship gold. And I think that might be the difference. Am I going to be shocked if Mims walks out with that? No, I'm not, because Mims, he's got all the tools and the ability. I've been nothing but impressed with him. I just think right now, Sion's got that little extra. He takes it to 11. You know what I mean? He takes it to 11.
That's well said, Doc. Actually, I really like that. I think you've got a good point there. Mims is still finding his footing in the NWA. He's come away with some wins, some losses. He's proven himself as a worthy addition to the roster. But yeah, Sion walked in day one with a single-minded focus that is just on winning championships, and just there has been no give either way in that purpose. Like, he has just been dedicated to, I'm going to win every single match that I'm in, and it's kind of scary. So yeah,
I think the cool thing about these two matches, like you said, Gary, no titles on the line, nothing like that. But it's a huge opportunity, and just based on our conversation, a lot of people would lean towards the Pope on his match with Colby Carino. A lot of people leaning towards Sion in this match. That being said, it's a great opportunity for Colby Carino. It's a great opportunity for Mims to really have a statement win. I mean, can you imagine Colby Carino coming out with a victory over the Pope? That's huge for him. I mean, that's bragging rights. That's a statement win. Same thing for Mims. If he comes out on top against a guy like Sion, that's got to be a shot in the arm for him in the NWA and propel him, to the next tier, which he's destined for anyways. But this is an opportunity this Sunday for both of those guys to really come out with a statement win.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into this. We got a few more to discuss here, fellas. Big matchup for the Burke. Of course, the NWA Women's World Championship is on the line, and that's Kamille defending against Kenzie Page. Now, we got a big announcement tonight on the show. It's not even here on our graphic. Our graphic hasn't even been updated. President William Patrick Corgan jumped in to say that because of the actions of Kamille attacking Melina, and then also the fact that Kenzie Page has shown a lot of promise and worked very hard in the National Wrestling Alliance and has faced Kamille before but come out unsuccessful. He's made a decision here to make this as competitive of a match as possible, similarly to old NWA World's Heavyweight Championship matches. This Burke title, the NWA Women's Championship, is going to be decided in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Kamille, Kenzie Page, call your shot here.
Let me jump in before Doc uncovers conspiracy going on. And let me say this. I'm excited about the stipulation 2 out of 3 falls. That's great. We've seen Kenzie and Kamille have a 1 fall match for the title, and Kamille retained. That being said, I appreciate everything that President William Patrick Corgan said tonight and giving props to Kenzie Page. All of that is true. She's incredible. I think she's got everything it takes to be a champion. However, I don't know that this is really a punishment for someone like Kamille. At the end of the day, it might end up being more of a punishment for Kenzie, because now, Kamille could potentially, Kamille's a beast, whether you like her or not, whether you agree with her actions or not. She's the champ for a reason, and she's successfully defended that title over and over. And she's established herself as, one of the most dominant champions of this era. And so that's my only thought going into this, is that 2 out of 3 falls, I don't see that really evening the scales in any way when you got someone like Kamille in that mix. So it's going to be big either way.
I hate making prefatory comments like this because it's like, I'm going to say this, but it is what it is. When you got Kamille as the holder of the Burke, that's just how it's got to be. I agree with you, Will. I think Kenzie is along with someone like Sky Blue, are probably two of the greatest prodigies in the world right now. They're young, they're aspiring, they're crazy talented, and they will at some point in time, ascend that mountaintop. I think that's in their cards for them. It's realistic to assume that, but it's just not realistic to assume it right now when the one who's at the mountaintop, who's the king of the mountain or the queen of the mountain, is Kamille, who is, I think, the most dominant woman in the world. She is the standard bearer for Strictly Business. She's the one who's playing the game right. She holds a championship that is more ancient in lineage than the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. She holds the Burke. And what's going to happen, Conspiracy Corgan, you called it, Will. He's at it again. He loves to do things to Strictly Business, but this is going to backfire because you know what's going to happen? All he did was give Kamille the open road to win 2 falls in one night. 2 falls against Kenzie Page.
2 falls in a row, Doc?
She gets to beat her twice in a row.
Big call there. Throwing it to the chat here. Ryan Romano says Kamille will retain against Kenzie Page, but in a few weeks, Kamille is getting a reality check. What he's referring to there is, in case anybody doesn't know, on November the 14th, RCW Wrestling Kamille is set to defend that NWA Women's Championship against Maddie Rinkowski, of all people. So that's a big match, too. Assuming Kamille gets there with the title, that's Maddie Rinkowski. She's another up-and-comer. Kamille taking on all challengers, not backing down. She has taken this title all over the country so far. And so I will give her props for that. And Roy DeCap says, Kamille is keeping her title. Trust that. Front Row says, Kenzie almost took that title in Charlotte. This time she's better prepared. But is she prepared enough, Front Row? That's the question. Let's see here. Todd says, have seen Kenzie wrestle numerous times, and it's rarely against other women, always men, so she can hang with someone like Kamille. Kenzie is very good and is going to only get better. Hope she wins. And Fee saying Kamille is not losing that title anytime soon. And I think a lot of people feel
at the end of the day, I have to agree with that statement. That's what it comes down to for me. As much as I would love, to see Kenzie come out, and I would even call that a statement win. That would be a career-defining win for her. I just don't think at this point in time, anybody can beat Kamille. That's just my outlook. Again, whether you like her or not, you can't argue with the math, right, Doc? It's a mathematical equation.
It's a mathematical certainty, man.
And Craig saying he thinks that match is going to steal the show. Turbo saying Kamille will dominate as always. All right, guys, we're headed into a co-main event for this show. Now, I would argue with that Kenzie Page Kamille match, there's a triple main event on this show. God, I mean, I'm as excited as I am about Colby and Pope and Sion and Mims. And
I think
and
they're all main
got
events.
A quadruple main event tonight, guys. A quadruple main event.
Sunday is going to be hot, man. I am so excited about being there for this event.
Hey, guys, last time the Bearded Trio were together in the Tennessee, Kentucky area, we tore it up, man. It was dynamite. And this show is going to be dynamite times 10. So it's going to be decamite.
Oh.
Is that I didn't even know that was a thing. So
he is a doctor. You got to trust him, I guess.
I trust him. All right, so let's talk about our co-main event here, the big one, the one we've all been waiting to see. This one has to happen. Crimson takes on Jax Dane in a steel cage match. Now, I will say here, what was special thing about this for me, and maybe I'm wrong, Doc, you could probably check me on this, but I think in the Lightning One era, this is the first ever steel cage match that they've had. And so in this resurgence of the National Wrestling Alliance, I feel like that's right. And who better than these two beasts going one-on-one, ready to tear each other limb from limb. I don't even know what to think about this match. I just know there will be blood. I feel like this is just going to be a deadly match, and I'm glad I'm not in the cage with them. That's all I can say about it. But yeah, I'll turn to you guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad blood in this match, if you want to put it that way. There's a lot of things at play here with these two guys. These guys are both fighters. They are guys that when they get in that ring, they are singularly focused. There's a lot of outside things going on. Jack Stane has a title shot. He tried to cash in on that. Crimson messed it up. But I don't think that's going to distract Jack Stane in this match. There's a back and forth about who turned on who or whatever. We heard from Crimson last week on this show, and he was very adamant about the fact that nothing changed on his end, and that Jax has just apparently lost his mind. He bumped his head or something. And but I think when these two guys get in the ring, the only thing that both of them are going to be focused on is the other guy and winning this match. So I think you could take all those outside distractions, all of those things, the title shots, the things like that, and you can throw them out the window because these guys are going to just go at it one-on-one. And as far as predictions, I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's hard because I could see it going either way. If I had to lean a certain way, I would say, this is Crimson's home turf. This is a show that he's putting together, and maybe that comfortability factors into him coming out with a win. I don't know. What you think, Doc?
It's also Jack Stane's home turf. Excuse me. There's there's some alliteration. It is also Jack Stane's home turf as well. So I don't know that there's much of a hometown advantage here. This is Crimson is probably more than any other individual out there associated with Tried and True. It is his promotion. I was listening to what he was saying earlier on the show, and then I'd heard this last week when you guys did the show, and he talked about not leaving a comrade behind and all that. But I think that his focus might be off. I don't think that Jack Stane was ever trying to be dismissive or trying to rid himself of Crimson. I think that Crimson might have some attachments there that have. I don't know if I'm expressing myself correctly, but I don't know. Well, that's neither here nor there. The point is, when you put a cage around the ring, you got Jack Stane and Crimson in there locked in, and you got a former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. In my opinion, maybe the single most dangerous wrestler in the NWA with Jack Stane. Crimson is dangerous. He's intense. We saw that slap fight, man, and he had Jack Stane looking cross-eyed. But right now, I'm going to tell you right now, when I look at people, we talked about Kobe Carino having fire earlier. When I look at someone having fire, Jack Stane, I think, is ready to poise himself, position himself to be back in that top tier discussion, to be back in that World's Heavyweight Championship discussion. And he looks at Crimson as a stepping stone, or now as an obstacle. They did the War Kings thing for a while. They had a good run as a tag team. They were dominant, and that's great. But at base, between me and you and Gary, Jack Stane wants that 10 pounds of gold. He wants that Sweet Charlotte, and I think all this is building to that. And at the end of the day, it's going to be a bloody affair. It's going to be a violent affair. It's going to be a freaking nuclear war inside that cage. But when that cage door opens, the person that emerges is going to be Jack Stane. Just let him go.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll let him figure it out. Still nothing, man.
Still. He must have unplugged the mic or something.
Well, Wow, I was muted in 2 places.
We're killing it tonight. We're killing it tonight. Can't say words correctly. Can't use technology. Thanks for joining us, everyone that's joining us. Thank you.
Strong coffee.
In your NWA fam mug. I like that.
Yeah. It's this new brand I bought. I don't know. Anyway, keeps me professional looking to have it in a mug.
There you go. I just have a flask.
Throw it into the chat though. Turbo says Turbo said something. Hard match to call. A lot of alpha male bad boys here. Going to be one to watch. Roy the Cap says, I can't call, but I hope it's a bloody affair. And Fiona says, I was all about Jax on Power because I knew him, but I've grown to know Crimson, and, well, I'm all for Crimson now. Sorry, Jax.
Uh-oh.
Front Row says, Jax Dane is a monster. All respect to Crimson, but I have to go with Dane. Roy the Cap says, you don't want to mess with Crimson because, all hell, you know the rest. And, yeah, Fee, am I allowed to like people based on their gear? Yes.
Yeah, I'm digging those spikes on Jack's Dane. I was looking at that when we were talking about it, and I'm like, that's pretty badass. That's hard to bet against a guy wearing giant spikes.
And thanks, Ryan. He says, you three do always look professional. Best beards in the business. I appreciate you. It's very sweet of you, Ryan. Thank you so much. Guys, we have one more match to talk about. It's the co-main event, and I only put it last because I felt like this might be the most divisive. We don't have all night to do this, so I figured if I get us down to the wire here for Sunday, October 24th, then we can discuss this. I'm going to start chaos. I love you guys. Thanks for the chat for being here. It's going to erupt from here, I'm sure, but just let's go. Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch, our guests earlier this evening, they take on Thom Latimer, Chris Adonis. It is a tag team match. No, William Patrick Corgan, by the way, will tease earlier this evening on the NWA PowerrrSurge that he could even throw a wrench into this one. He's still thinking about it. He's still not sure that he doesn't add some sort of stipulation. Stipulation or no, this is a big matchup. The two most recent NWA World's Heavyweight Champions, I mean, the current and then the former, are taking on Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis. Chris Adonis, the current #1 contender for the NWA World's title, and Thom Latimer, the man who thinks he probably should be the #1 contender for the NWA World title. This is a hoss fight any way you slice it. And these guys, they don't play. These are 4 wily veterans in professional wrestling. They know what to do. They know how to get it done in the ring, and they know how to do it dirty too. They don't have like, they're not just like savvy technical wrestlers. They're not just powerhouses. They're all of these things. And so this is a hell of a tag team match set up for By Any Means Necessary. These 4 men are going to tear it down. So, Will, as our resident tag team fan, I gotta throw to you. How you feeling about this big match?
From a purely tag team perspective, I'm super excited. I mean, we talked about it earlier. You know, 10 tag team title reigns between Nick Aldis and the champ, and you know, Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis are no stranger to tag team wrestling either. Those guys are accomplished in their own right. So, you know, a lot of times in these matches that, you know, guys are put together and it turns into a tag match. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not calculated or they're not working well together, but there's a lot more at stake in this match. And you mentioned stipulations being added. Personally, I don't think stipulations even need to be added in this match because there's enough stipulation with all of the grudges between all 4 of these men. I mean, Trevor mentioned it earlier tonight. I mean, he's got unfinished business with Chris Adonis and strictly business as a whole. Nick Aldis has come around and they've joined forces, but you know, strictly business has stuck their nose in Trevor Murdoch's business a lot. So there's a lot of tension, a lot of grudges in this match. And I think that's going to be at play. You know, Doc, I know you like to talk about people being driven by emotion. I don't think any four of these men can not be driven by emotion in this match, because there's so much, even on the strictly business side. I mean, anger is an emotion, and these guys took out their anger on Nick Aldis, and they changed the whole landscape of that top tier of the NWA with what happened a couple weeks ago. And so they're operating out of emotion as well. It's just a different kind of emotion. I don't know, bitterness or anger, whatever you want to call it. But this could be an explosive match. This could be one of those matches that maybe this one should be in a cage, because I don't know, what's going to happen. But, if we're talking about predictions, I'm going to be honest. You put the past two world's heavyweight champions on a team, I'm not betting against them under any circumstance. I think Trevor and Nick, they I don't think they put any kind of grudges to rest in this match. I don't think that's something that can just be solved in a tag team match like this. But I think that after what Thom did to Nick a couple of weeks ago, I think Nick's going to come out and have something to prove. And it's interesting to see him have something to prove when he's not the champion. And I think it's going to be a different Nick Aldis than we're used to seeing. And I think Nick and Trevor take the win on this one.
Let me just throw in there too. On top of that, I see Doc laughing already, and I know Doc's going to filibuster here in a second. So I
like to make Doc laugh.
You did already mention this, Wil, but my complete focus is on the fact that you're talking about two guys that the experience level is off the charts together. And I'm not talking about Thom and Chris. I'm talking about Nick and Trevor, that these two guys have a plethora of tag team success on their own, like with other partners. And you bring that into this situation with two guys that know each other better than they know themselves, probably because they've been studying tape, doing their research, because they've had to compete against each other in title matches more than once. Can you make a better team than Trevor Murdoch and Nick Aldis? Is there really a chance for Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis here? I'm just having trouble feeling like they're going to be ready. Strictly Business talks a big game, but man, these guys know what they're doing.
Is that it?
That's it. That's it.
I gotta say, I'm sad. This whole thing makes me sad. The state, I think we're nearing a low point, not a low point, because it's the NWA. The NWA is great. I love the NWA, and you've got the best talent in the world right now. But this really breaks my heart to see what we've come to here when we were just 52 days ago. Until today, I haven't talked to Nick Aldis in 52 days. That's how many days Trevor Murdoch has been the world's heavyweight champion. I bet you Trevor didn't know that. I know Nick didn't know. Nick might know that, but it's only because of me, because I'm the one who says it, But you talk about, can there be a greater team than Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch? First of all, there is no team there. Here we are 52 days into the reign of Trevor Murdoch. And what's everybody talking about? Strictly business. We're still talking about Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis always has to have it about him. He still finds a way. I guess Conspiracy Corgan is good. He's that good that for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, we saw Conspiracy Corgan manipulate, torture, abuse Nick Aldis to try to distort this great championship reign that we all were privileged to live through. And now we see Nick Aldis coddling up to Conspiracy Corgan. The weight was too much. And here we are 52 days into the reign of the real world's champion, Trevor Murdoch. And what are we talking about? We're talking about strictly business still. We're talking about Nick Aldis. We're not talking about who the next competitor is on the horizon for Trevor Murdoch. We're here talking about this. We're talking about the emotion. We're talking about all these things. But the focus is on Nick Aldis, and that's how he wants it. So we're told tonight that this isn't a business, it's a faction. You're called strictly business. You've got some of the greatest athletes in the world, two of them world caliber champions, Chris Adonis and Kamille, and one, Thom Latimer, who is an emerging person who is going to be a factor in this discussion for a long, long time. And he takes the time to come on this show and say, Stinson, I'm going to see you on Sunday. You best be quiet. Oh, because he's going to beat me up. You're going to beat me up. 175-pound fan analyst. That's your response. I'm going to tell you right now.
We hope.
No.
We hope.
Yeah, man, you should hope. I'm going to say that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. That doesn't impress me. Again, like I said earlier, you throw anything in an English accent and it sounds cute and adorable and educated, but it's not. He talks about, oh, Stinson, you can't string 3 words together. I'm a freaking doctor. It's just that you can't keep up. You can't keep up with what I'm saying. If you would simply follow the formula that you established for the last 1,044 plus 52 days, well, minus 52 days, whatever, forget that. The 1,044 days prior to this 52, you would still be the world's heavyweight champion. But now here we are. This isn't a tag team match, Will. I know you're a tag team fan. This isn't a tag team match. This is Nick Aldis exerting his ego. This is Trevor Murdoch still living in the shadow of Nick Aldis, even though he's the champion. And we've got the two top guys who are maybe the most focused. You got the Pope in there who's focused. You got Sion, who's focused. Besides that, who else do you have who's focused? Kamille and Strictly Business. Strictly Business, I guarantee you, under these circumstances, in this world, in this landscape, when Nick Aldis is not the world champion and he apparently has no interest in it anymore because he's been broken, there's no way in the world that Strictly Business doesn't walk out winning this match. There's no way in the world. And that's fine. I'll show up Sunday. I've got a good insurance policy. I make as much as Nick Aldis does. If he beats me up, that's okay. I'll sue him. I'll make him pay for it. Him and Conspiracy Corgan.
Doc, I appreciate your rant, and I love letting you go off on those, the filibusters, as you'll call them, and that sort of thing. I only joke about it because I don't think Nick Aldis is going to beat you up. I don't think you're worth his time, honestly. But it's just interesting.
I'm not
to
worth
hear
his time. Yeah, I was his chosen for the last several years. He's been Thom Latimer's best mate. Thom Latimer was his man. I was his chosen spokesman. He chose me to be his spokesman. And then he woke up one day and decided, maybe it wasn't, maybe I need to be more compassionate. Maybe I need to be more empathetic. Well, guess what? You're not the world champion anymore because of that. You know what? Billy Corgan, Conspiracy Corgan, and Trevor Murdoch got in that head on August the 28th. And now here we are 53 days later after that. And the whole world has changed. I like the world a whole lot better with Nick Aldis before.
I think it is currently debatable on who's hung up on some stuff right now. And so I'm not really sure.
Hey, I will definitely agree with you on one thing, and that is that the world has changed. And we mentioned it earlier, but NWA 73 was a catalyst for a brand new chapter in the NWA, and then even a brand new chapter between the three of us, because this is a completely new dynamic. I'm not used to defending Nick Aldis, to be honest. But
let me ask you this, Will, let me ask you this. Why are you not used to defending Nick Aldis? Let's just have that discussion real quick. Why? Is it anything that you did? Did your worldview change?
No.
Did you wake up one day and decide, oh, the world's different? No, exactly. You didn't.
Listen,
you didn't
nobody's
change. Gary didn't change. I didn't change. But someone did change.
Yes, Nick Aldis changed. Nobody's debating that. I don't even think Nick Aldis would sit here and tell you that he hasn't changed. I think that going to a battle like NWA 73, that has the potential to change you. He said it tonight himself. He learned that there's nothing bigger than the title. And I think that was him acknowledging that he had reached a point where maybe he thought he was bigger than the title. And I'm not going to use the word humbled, because Nick Aldis doesn't need to be humble. He doesn't have a reason to be humble, because you've said it many times, the greatest champion of this era. And so, some slight changes happened. But the biggest change, in my opinion, and I know you'll disagree with this, the biggest change was Strictly Business deciding that because Nick Aldis wasn't champion, that they needed to just dispose of him and do their own thing. And I think that was a mistake. And I think that's what's going to happen on Sunday. They're going to realize that was a mistake when they go into the ring, whether you want to call it a great tag team match or not. They're going to go against a current world champion and the previous world champion. You know, you can't shake a stick at that. I don't care how focused Strictly Business is. I don't care how close they are or how angry they are. You've got the last two world's heavyweight champions on a team together, and both of them with something to prove at this point. I just don't see a scenario where Strictly Business doesn't walk away with their tail between their legs saying, okay, I think we made a mistake.
I don't even think it was so much that Nick Aldis lost the championship. It was more like just because Nick Aldis gave the title the respect it deserves. And at the end of the day, when Trevor Murdoch was able to overcome, he said the better man won, and he deserves that title. And he seemed to, and that just seems like classy. That just seems like the class that the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
That's great. And listen,
yeah, and you're right, Doc.
I congratulated Trevor Murdoch. I'm not saying that he didn't lose in a classy manner. I'm not saying that. I was the first one to congratulate Trevor Murdoch backstage. I told him if he won, I'd shake his hand, and I did. And I came in here the very next week and I said, you did great. There's no excuses here. You won it. You're the world's champion. He is the real world's champion. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying the turn that Nick Aldis is taking is to discredit everything he had done before August the 29th. I'm the one. No. Because now, we just woke up one day and we decided, we're not going to play business this way. I'm going to shift the goalposts. I'm going to shift the way we operate. And obviously, Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis did not get the memo on that, because they're continuing to function as they always have. That is consistently, without interruption, brought them nothing but success.
What way is that, by the way? What way is that? What are they
focused on the championship at all costs?
Beat down.
Being focused on championships at all costs, rather than being nice, rather than coddling, and making amends and we're going on an apology tour. Nick Aldis is going on an apology tour right now. So you're the real problem is with the fact that Nick Aldis accepted his loss. It's not about what is Strictly Business doing now that was. What did he say, Gary? Don't come up here and act like you. What did he say?
No. This is what he said, Gary.
This is what I'm going to clap at you. This is what he said. He came on there on NWA YouTube on Fight TV and said, being champion makes you do things you might not ordinarily do. He was doing the things that made him the champion. And in this business, if you're not gunning for championships, then why even be here? At least Trevor Murdoch said, if I don't win this belt, I'm walking away forever. At least he said that.
And he did. And Nick said, hey, you were the better man. You did it.
He was the better man on that night. I said that too, Gary. You're just repeating what I said. But then
so that's all it takes, and then you just throw him out with the bathwater?
Then he proceeded to say, man, gosh, I wish Nick Aldis was in here to hear. Come on, sign back in, Nick, so we can air this out right now. Whatever it means for Sunday. He proceeded to say, when you are the champion and you have to do this and you have to do this media spot, it makes you act in ways that you might not ordinarily act. I'm sorry. Where have I been the last 1,044 days? You acted the same way the whole time. The same way the whole time. You were excellent at everything, and you left nothing on the ground. You, at all costs, you walked away with the championship. At all cost. And now guess what? It's gone. It's gone. And we're going to change our world now. Even on the
seventh day, Doc, God rested. You can't give Nick Aldis a minute to take a second to sit back and reflect.
It's been 52 days. It's been 52 days, Gary. As of today.
But I've heard God years are different than human years. I don't know if they're dog years.
That's dog year. You're thinking of dog.
Yeah,
years.
7 years for every year or something. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying these guys gave up too quick. It sounds like a little bit of bitterness Thom Latimer is ready to like assert himself. I'm gonna leave this on Nani. Will, you had something too.
I was just gonna echo. There's a whole lot of bitterness. You said there's a whole lot of bitterness all around. I mean, a change in the landscape like this. Doc's heated about it. You're heated about it.
I'm no Nick Aldis apologist here. I'm just telling you what I see.
My only thing is, you say he's going on an apology tour. I mean, I haven't heard him apologize over and over. I mean, he might have apologized. The only thing he might have apologized for is the way that he conducted himself before losing the title to Trevor. That's what, and to me, that's valid, because I took issue with some of the ways he conducted himself, and that was no secret. We talked about it here on the show. It was a point of contention.
And that's the whole debate, isn't it, Will? That's the debate right there. You took issue with the tactics that kept him as champion for 1,044 days, the 6th longest reign in the history of the world. Now, I don't know. I'd rather go with the 1,044 days.
Yeah,
You're in this business to win championships.
It comes down to, what's more important, what you do or how you do it. And I think he had a shift in his mindset. It wasn't just what he did being the champion. It was how he went about doing it. And how he went about doing it resulted in him losing the title at NWA 73. And that caused him to step back and reevaluate some things. And I respect that. That's
what resulted in him losing the championship was William Patrick Corgan and Irish Pat Kenny coming out there and inserting themselves for them granting this championship match even after Nick Aldis cleanly won the match in Charlotte, North Carolina. This incessant drive to, under any cost, take this championship away. And it just, let's be honest, the pressure became too heavy. Heavy as the head who wears the crown.
The only thing disgusting here that I'm seeing is that you are sitting here making up like all of this mess about Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis is not the one out there making excuses. That's you. That's you making up excuses about why Nick Aldis lost. And then you, along with Strictly Business, throwing him out like garbage when he takes a second to reflect on his over 1,000-day reign as the world's heavyweight champion. Not even giving him, yeah, I know how many days it was, Doc. And you think after 1,044 days as champion, you give him the benefit of the doubt that he knows what the hell he's doing. But you don't. You don't. You think the second he's done, that whatever Strictly Business decides, that's what matters. That's the garbage I'm seeing right now.
No. At some point, everybody loses a championship, Gary. I'm not upset that he lost the championship. I'm upset that this has obviously traumatized him and it's changed his whole scope and worldview. That's what I'm upset about.
Immediately, everything that a man who held the title for
Let's
that
not
long,
say
title
immediately.
longer,
It's been 52 days, Gary. We just had a conversation with Nick Aldis literally 20 minutes ago. It's been 52 days. It's been half of 100 days. All right, we're 1/6 of the way through a year. It's not been immediately. He's had time to reflect. Come on now, let's move on. Let's quit crying over spilt milk and move on, and let's get back with that championship.
Fake news math, because what it was a week after Nick Aldis shows up and he admits everything that we're talking about right here, and 52 days later, he's still sticking to his story. That's what you're talking about.
I can see someone being circumspect 7 days later, but here we are 52 days later.
And he's still sticking to the story, and you don't give him the benefit of the doubt as a man who's held the world's heavyweight championship
deeply traumatized. So we're going to come here on the podcast and tell a 175-pound analyst, oh, Doc, I still got to see you on Sunday. Say it to me then. What? Okay, so you're going to beat me up on Sunday. I'm coming on Sunday.
I'll be there on Sunday too.
I will too.
We get an extra match out of it. Then
we act like this is the first time that Nick Aldis has threatened any of the three of us. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's thrown some threats Gary's way. In the past year.
But Gary deserved them. Gary deserved them.
Okay.
I'm actually what's ironic here is that I'm actually here defending the legacy of Nick Aldis. You guys are defending the whitewash, the clean, the renewed, the new touchy feely.
No. What you're doing is Nick Aldis.
I'm defending the continued legacy of Nick Aldis because I believe that this new evolution of Nick Aldis is exactly what he needs to have 10 more championship reigns, because what he was doing before, yes, it worked for 1,044 days, but it came to an end, and a pretty definitive end. And I think like any good champion, like any good competitor, any good athlete, he stopped, he reevaluated, he retooled, he figured out what got me here is not going to get me there, and I got to level up. And I think that's exactly what he did. And that's what I'm defending. So I'm not discrediting any of the 1,044 days that he held the title before. I take issue with some of the things he did during that 1,044 days, some of the things he said, but I'm defending the future legacy of Nick Aldis because I agree with the current iteration.
You
of
want
Nick
to
Aldis.
defend the future legacy of Nick Aldis. I guarantee you 100 years from now, they're not going to be talking about this conversation. They're going to be talking about, man, at one point there was a champion who reigned for 1,044 days. It was the last 1,000-day reign. His name was Nick Aldis, and he was one of the greats.
That's fine. I think this Nick Aldis, I think the Nick Aldis we talked to tonight could have a 2,000-day reign. So there you go.
He's smirking. But no, Will, I'm with you. I mean, you guys, and I'll say this for both of you. You're talking about legacy like Nick Aldis is done. Nick Aldis ain't dead in the ground. Nick Aldis is still wrestling. Nick Aldis is still one of the best professional wrestlers in the business today. Perhaps the best professional wrestler in the business today. And he's still out there and he's still working. And the fact that you're just willing to toss that legacy out halfway through, man, the man ain't done.
Gosh,
you don't know nothing about his legacy.
Man.
No.
Nobody tossed Nick Aldis out. I think Nick is the one who did the tossing. Okay, let's get it straight.
Dude, listen,
Whatever.
Nick Aldis got dropped on his head 3 times, one of those times on a chair. He turned around and still went to Poland, had a hell of a match, had some words with Chris Adonis. I mean, that's a champion right there.
I don't want anybody to get hurt, okay? It bothered me to see that too. This is a man who's a father, but I'm going to tell you right now, I said it before, I have a scar right here on my head. It nearly killed me. My brother gave that to me. My brother is one of my best friends in the world today. That stuff happens. Passion takes over. And, you know, again, I'm thankful that Nick Aldis is
he still your brother?
And safe. He's still my brother.
You still talk to him?
I talk to him today. I talk to him every day.
Nani,
I used to talk to you every day, Gary, but you don't take my calls anymore. You don't take my calls anymore, and Nick Aldis hasn't spoke to me in 52 days.
1,044
neither of y'all
days
ever call me. So
as representing
well, you just don't answer my calls, Will. You called me the other night, and I answered on the first ring. And I answered on the first ring.
Listen, man, I was in the middle of spending time with my wife. What I'm saying is, as Nani points out in the chat, 1,044 days of representing the NWA, and it's less than 52 before Stinson and the Goons turned on him.
Before he turned on first of all, it's not me he turned on. He turned on Strictly Business. He turned on his whole approach. He turned on the NWA, essentially. He turned on the 10 pounds of gold. He turned on everything that made him great. And now you guys are because, he's being nice and he's being introspective. That now I'm going to tell you again, like I said before, 100 years from now, it'll be the 1,044 days that people talk about. That'll be what they talk about.
Steiner Recliner in the chat. Nick didn't roll over and die. He's still wrestling. He's in his prime. He takes care of himself. He'll be on top again. That's the truth.
That's what I was saying.
Let's hope. And I hope so. I'll be the first one to tell you that.
Really? You hope so? Because it sounds like you just don't care what Nick Aldis does from here.
I care about Nick Aldis. I care. I was his top defender for the last 3 years. What are you talking about?
Fair weather fan. I don't even know how the Braves deal with
I didn't wake up one day and have a change of heart.
Listen, let me clarify something. No Braves fan is a fair weather fan. All right. It's a choice to be a Braves fan, and it's a tough choice. We're feeling good today, but
the
I got to
tied it up 5-5, so that's part of my problem right now.
Listen, I know we got to wrap this up. We've gone almost 2 hours. This is a great discussion, but lost in all this mix is Trevor Murdoch has been champion for 52 days. What's next for Trevor? This is a big match for him. A lot of implications. We mentioned it before. Chris Adonis at any moment really could call up William Patrick Corgan and say, hey, I want a title shot and get it as the national champion. So a lot of things can come out of this. And I obviously the big news is with Nick and Strictly Business and that stuff going on, but let's not lose in the mix that the world champion is in this match, a guy who is on top of the mountain right now. And 52 days so far. Does he reach 1,000 days? I mean, who knows? So that's
well said, Will. And if I were Thom Latimer and Chris Adonis, I would just forget about Nick Aldis and start making start painting that target on the back of Trevor Murdoch. That's what I would do.
I can't help but feel that they are going to be doing that, and that this is part of the master plan. This is where they're at right now, that they knew eventually this would lead to Trevor Murdoch being involved. And Trevor, as much as I love the guy, and I do love him, he's going to have to be aware. He's in it. He's in the main event picture now. He's the top man in the business. And at that, he is going to be subject to all the criticism. Guys like Nick Aldis. I mean, Nick Aldis told him that day one, now you carry the weight. You deal with the problems. You deal with the criticism. You deal with the judgment. You deal with all of that stuff. Trevor Murdoch is going into, by any means necessary, not defending that world's heavyweight championship, and not by lack of challengers. There are people out there ready to challenge. Now, I will give him this. None of those people have stepped forward and offered the challenge. Pope's just been friendly and been like, enjoy your run. Jack Stain tried to step up, but he's tied up with Crimson right now. There's other guys out there ready that have title shots. And Tyrus. I mean, Tyrus, we had a thing on social media today with Tyrus talking about you got 5 more defenses before that belt goes over my fireplace. Like he's got people in the wings. And Trevor, Nick Aldis during the pandemic era of the NWA, he suffered the criticism of all the people talking about title defenses and that sort of thing. Trevor Murdoch's going to have to deal with that as well. And I can't help but feel, guys, that we're mentioning some of these names, but there's people out there we haven't even thought of yet that are going to be gunning for that world's heavyweight championship, that smell the blood in the water. And they're going to be coming. They're sharks. There's going to be a lot of them. They see Nick Aldis drop it after 1,044 days. They say there's like fresh blood now. Maybe here's our chance to step in. Who's going to take? I was going to say, man.
I mean, Nick Aldis left a lot of people in the wake of the Aldis Crusade that all wanted that belt, and they presumably still do. And you got to imagine a title change would renew that passion in them to maybe do that, and they would see an opportunity, as you're saying, Gary. So I mean, there's a lot to look forward to.
There's a bunch going on for sure. Trevor Murdoch is going to be in the tag team match this weekend, but who knows from there. Guys, I'm excited about October 24th, Oak Grove, Kentucky. By any means necessary. This
the 3 of us together.
I can't wait for us all to spend time together so we can have these like fierce arguments in person. That's going to be a lot of fun, and we can yell at each other up close. And guys, we're family. For those of you in the chat, this is just real life. We do be doing this, and so it's gonna.
That's our tagline.
Yeah,
this is pro wrestling. We do be doing this.
I love it. All right. Well, Doc, Will, me, you see all of our stuff. We're from a show called at TIPW show. This is Pro Wrestling. You can go to youtube.com/This Is Pro Wrestling and hit subscribe. If you haven't already, please do it and tell everybody you know. We're going to try to build that thing up eventually. Right now, of course, we're caught up in the NWA whirlwind that's going on right now. But we do love you guys. Thank you so much, everybody that hung out. Cody, thanks for jumping in here, even though you just said blah, 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 blah. And Nani, thanks for being here. Roy at Caps, Ryan Romano, Sebastian, even though you said something that had to be deleted. Habes, thanks for being here. Steiner Recliner, good to see you jumping in there and participating in the conversation. We'd love to have you back more often. Front row, as always. And Roy at Caps, you're the man. Anthony Lewis, good to see you. Thanks for everybody for joining with us. Fee, I think, finally passed out. And so we love you guys. Thanks for being here. And check us out online. We'll be here next Tuesday after NWA EmPowerrr. That's going to be happening. So we'll be talking to you then. And until then, you guys enjoy your gravy cake.